Welcome to Podsdale, brought to you by the City of Scottsdale. Join us to explore the stories that make our city a world-class community.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Podsdale. I'm Greer.
And I'm Gail.
And today we have two wonderful ladies from the McDowell Sonoran Preserve here to talk with us about heat safety. We've got Kelsey Lamper, our preserve manager, and Madison Barasha, our
Barasha.
Thank you. Barasha. I'm struggling with that today. Madison Barasha, our natural resources supervisor. Thank you guys so much for being on with us today.
Well, first of all, this is timely because historic heat spell in March. What's that? And then summer is coming sooner and sooner because of climate change. And so we always have to be prepared for the heat. Even in the winter, people need to be prepared for the heat here in Arizona, correct?
That's right.
Well, we're excited to have you guys both on today to talk about this because it's a very important topic, especially here in Arizona. So before we get into everything, Kelsey, Madison, could you share with us a little bit about your positions and how you ended up here at the City of Scottsdale?
Sure. As the preserve manager, I oversee the operational components of the preserve. That includes our trailheads, our staff, programs that help people safely enjoy the preserve and Pinnacle Peak Park. A big part of my role is actually making sure that visitors can experience our incredible desert landscape while also protecting the natural resources that make the preserve so special.
This preserve is super special because they've got a crested saguaro.
Yes.
We have a few, actually.
Well, I only want to talk about one because we don't want people traipsing in areas they're not supposed to go.
True, or go too far of a hike, which is the other one is like 6 miles round trip. And we don't want people doing that in the high heat of March. So, Madison Barasha here. So, as a natural resources supervisor, my area is more focused on the northern region of the preserve. So, that includes Pima Dynamite Trailhead, Browns Ranch Trailhead, Fraze Field, and Granite Mountain Trailhead. My day-to-day is so different. I have more visitor interaction than I would say Kelsey. Kelsey's more high-level, planning, coordinating, while I'm more on the ground, boots on the ground type of gal.
Sure.
Like watch out for rattlesnakes. There was one spotted on the
Yeah, there was.
Yes.
Yeah. And
happens
Gila
to me
monsters.
every time.
Yes. And we love to see them. And we love to give them some respect, too, because it is their home. But they're fun to see. I love seeing them.
I always give them the right of way because, like, why argue with a rattlesnake?
I love that. Exactly.
You'll never win.
No.
This is their home.
For listeners, for listeners who might not be familiar with the area, can you give us a quick overview of the preserve and why it's such an important part of Scottsdale?
The McDowell Sonoran Preserve is over 30,000 acres of land. It's Scottsdale's most, in my opinion, unique and treasured assets, really. We have over 230 miles of trails, and it's actually one of the largest urban preserves in the country. Fun facts. It exists really because Scottsdale voters chose to protect this land and these natural resources. So people can hike, bike. We have some equestrian users and really connect with nature. But it's also critical that we protect the wildlife habitat and preserve the beauty and the ecology of the Sonoran Desert so we can continue to enjoy it for generations to come.
A wide variety of visitors visit. Could you, describe what kind of visitors visit besides just locals?
Yeah, well, locals do include hikers, bikers, equestrian users, trail runners, families with kids, people walking their dogs, and we will also touch on safety, hiking with your dogs as well. But a lot of visitors from out of town simply want to experience the desert. A lot of them, this is their first time experiencing the desert. Some are experienced hikers, but like I said, this might be their first time, and we need to make sure that they are safe doing that.
And I can imagine, too, especially because Scottsdale attracts so many different people from so many different walks of life, I can imagine that, especially in the hotter months, people don't necessarily fully prepare or fully know what they're getting themselves into when they decide to go out and take a hike in the preserve. Do you notice a difference in how locals versus visitors from out of town approach hiking in the preserve? And
yeah, visitors from out of town, I think they underestimate the desert heat and kind of how intense it can be here, especially if they're used to hiking in those cooler temperatures or climates that have higher levels of humidity as well. And that's why education around the heat is so important.
Are there particular groups of visitors that you have to, you spot them and you say, yeah, maybe I should talk to them, like families or something that come in that you think every time you think we need to get the word out?
So for me, if I see somebody with just one of those small plastic water bottles, I know they're probably not an experienced hiker, and they likely do not have enough water to safely complete the hike.
It's not the flip-flops that give it away?
The flip-flops and the high heels also give it away.
Heels?
Yeah.
No, for reals? I laugh when I go to
For
Disneyland
reals.
and I see a woman in heels in a micro mini. I'm like, you're going to be uncomfortable. Like, you, good luck getting out of that water ride.
Yeah.
But like heels on the trails?
Right? The other day, I saw somebody in a skirt and flip-flops.
going for a hike?
Going for a hike.
Well,
And we can do our best to educate them, and we try. Ultimately, it's their choice.
Yeah, we're educators, not enforcers.
Sure.
Can always try to tell someone no, but it's not our place to always decide that. I will add on to Kelsey, not to pick one group, but bachelorette parties for sure. We do see that a lot, and the majority of the groups unfortunately do get rescued, but at least they have the opportunity to. So, they come in from the Midwest or from out of town. They come in Thursday night, they party, then they come out to hike at like 10 a.m. the next day around the May time, which is like high 100-degree weather. Already dehydrated from drinking, which is, it's fair. You know what? Girls love to have parties, and I totally, yes, you do you. But then they come and hike, and then they have coffee in their hand and no water, and then it's concerning at times, and we always love to educate them as well. And I remember running into someone, because last year I was getting married, and be like, oh my gosh, are you on your bachelorette? Like, who's getting married? Kind of talking with them and being like, hey, just a heads up, make sure you have a great time. So don't be outside for too long. When you're halfway through your water, turn around and come back. Just hydrate. And I saw them like an hour later, and they all were fine. I'm like, oh my gosh, thank goodness. Like, they were good. They took my word. I'm like, I am making a difference. We love to see it. So, and yes, those are definitely one of the big user groups we've been seeing as of late.
So when you see one of those groups come in, you mentioned making sure you turn around when your water's half empty. What other recommendations would you give someone who's a novice hiker in the area looking to explore?
Oh my gosh, you got all day, Greer? 'Cause we can talk about this. So if they just come to the trailhead and they are in their best hiking outfit as they can be, I'd be like, all right, awesome. Do you guys have water with you? And they're like, yes, we do have water, but it's in our car. I'm like, nope, turn around, please.
Go get it.
Water. You're not hydrating your car, you're hydrating yourself. Plus, it's going to be like boiling water when you get back to your car, so that's not tasty. So making sure they have the water with them. If they have like a hat or sunglasses also in their car, to grab that as well, because it's not only about hydrating yourself, but it's also providing shade for yourself. You got to cool yourself down, because if your body temperature starts to increase, then you're more likely then to become dehydrated. Then you can experience heat exhaustion, which can turn into heat stroke, which we can talk more about later. Other aspects too is bring snacks. Always bring some salty snacks. They're great for you, especially if you're going to feel like you're dehydrated. It also helps with the absorption for hydrating you. Not just plain old water is great, but when you can have electrolytes and salt with you, man, you'll be unstoppable.
Frozen grapes and cuties are my go-to for a
Ooh, Gail.
They're just like the frozen grapes are great, and the cuties are easy to peel and easy to put the peel in your pocket.
Thank you.
Because you don't want to leave them on the trail, even though it's organic. You don't want to leave it on the trail. But you were talking about preparing and hydrating, but shouldn't we also pre-hydrate?
Yes. So prehydration is so important because you don't want to play catch up. So I've always been told my whole life, I grew up in Arizona, I played sports outside, crazy, I know, that if you are thirsty, you are kind of already behind the curve. So you always have to drink at least, I would say, a cup or two the night before, maybe even more depending on who you are. And if you are someone who drinks a lot more water than others, and yes, maybe 3 cups instead of 2. It's just all about how your body reacts to dehydration and hydration. But it's giving your organs and your body a head start before being out in the sun, which the sun can be very, very brutal.
So you mentioned the sun can be brutal, which kind of leads me into my next question. Are there safer times of day for hiking when we know that the temperatures are going to be sky high?
We open at sunrise, so I highly recommend hiking and enjoying the preserve as early in the day as possible.
Totally.
I'm a morning hiker, especially in the summer. Even when it's going to be 90 degrees, the sun is not beating on you. And you know, when I had a dog, it was like, he didn't care. He wanted to hike. And I cared. And so it was like, when's the ground going to be cool enough for their little paws?
Well, you're a smart one. We just need to duplicate you.
The world does not need more.
more gales.
I don't know how someone could get out of their car at high noon in the middle of June and think that that's like a good time to go hiking if they're not, even if they are properly prepared. Like, I can't imagine that you'll get very far.
Exactly. And then some people like to do it because they like to be competitive with themselves.
Sure.
They like to, and this is my assumptions, either one, maybe it can be ignorance or arrogance, either or. It is just so hot and it can just, people, again, like what Kelsey said, underestimate the heat. It could be, even though we're talking about noon right now, but again, if you start your hike at 8 a.m., oh my gosh, it's 80 degrees outside. But right around 10 o'clock, it can skyrocket up to 100 degrees. And that's not fun.
What are the signs of heat exhaustion? Because somebody may be experiencing it for the first time and they don't know what they hear about, I went through heat exhaustion, but they might not know what the signs are. Yes.
So the first level is dehydration, which just basically means you're dehydrated, you don't have enough water, fluids, electrolytes in your system. And then the next step is heat exhaustion. So I guess for the listeners and for everyone in here, have you all experienced flu-like symptoms?
Yes.
All right, so heat exhaustion is kind of like that. You are sweating profusely because your body's trying to cool down. You know, we are the only animals on Earth that have this amazing capability of cooling ourselves down with sweat. So that's why you excessively sweat when you have heat exhaustion, because your body's compensating. It's trying to cool your body down. Then you get dizzy as well. With that, you get nauseous, you have headaches, muscle cramps, which then can lead into confusion. So again, those flu-like symptoms. So if you start experiencing that on the trail, your skin is also pale, cool, and clammy, which just means you kind of look like a ghost. Like the flu, when you kind of have that pale complexion, does not matter the color complexion of your skin. If you feel like you are ghost-like, yeah, you're probably experiencing heat exhaustion. Can I tell a quick story about that?
Please.
Okay, cute. So last year, we had a woman who was out on the trail on Gateway Loop Trail. 2 of our stewards, who are volunteers, amazing individuals, they saw that she was not doing well and kind of said, hey, we're heading back to the trailhead. Do you want to join us? You're kind of not looking great at this time. You're probably experiencing heat exhaustion. And thank goodness she said yes. So they hiked back with her and brought her to Yvonne Massman, who's one of our natural resources supervisors out of Gateway. And Yvonne started the process of cooling her down. Then some of us came by because we had a meeting. I started to help Yvonne with this patient because when I first walked in and I saw this woman sitting on a chair with her legs up, she looked so ghostly. It's like just the skin, the life was drained out of her. And thank goodness that she was in a cool place, a shaded place. So when you start experiencing heat exhaustion, that's kind of what you want to do.
And if you're on the trail, get them in the shade.
Exactly. Kind of cool them down first. So other ways to cool them down is if you have ice packs with you or one of those ice. What are those, like, bandana
Those
things?
like the
Cooling towels.
Yes,
Cooling
thank
towels,
you, thank you.
Like behind the neck and the armpits, behind the knees is like the most important areas to help that patient cool down. And also providing shade is the most important part. And water, rehydrating that person. You don't want to have them take big gulps because then that can upset their stomach even more, causing them to throw up and then becoming even more dehydrated. So sipping water. And if you have like electrolytes with you, perfect time to also introduce that to the patient. Because if that person doesn't seem to be getting better within 30 minutes, it can then lead to heat stroke, which is very deadly. It's actually where your brain begins to cook.
Oh,
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that just great?
You don't want to cook your brain.
No, you don't.
You don't.
We love our brains, and our brains sometimes love us. So once an individual starts to show signs and symptoms of heat exhaustion, either head back to the trailhead or find a shady area to cool down and moment to relax. So if someone is not bouncing back within 30 minutes of heat exhaustion symptoms, they'll proceed to heat stroke. So your brain begins to cook. You will not sweat. You more likely become unconscious because your body's actually beginning to try to compensate and save your brain, which is very fascinating how your body tries to save itself.
Yeah.
So by saving itself, it's like, oh, okay, night time, even though I don't want to go night, I need to protect the brain. And then, which is not great if you go night because you're more than likely to pass away. So in that time, if you feel yourself becoming kind of confused, has anyone ever like been hangry before?
All the time.
Yeah, same. And you kind of just like, you're in this state of rage at times and you're just annoyed. And then I know personally sometimes for me when I get so hungry, I get like confused and dizzy. I'm like, I need some food right now. That's your body. That's your body's way of saying you need water right now. So
Just sip it. Don't gulp it.
that's for heat exhaustion. For heat stroke, you don't want to drink water.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. So
We've opened a can of worms.
when you're experiencing heat stroke, you're more likely to go unconscious and you're more likely to throw up. So if you introduce water into your system, you're
don't
more
want the
likely to
throwing up.
throw up. And if you become unconscious, you're more likely then to choke on your vomit.
Oh.
Yeah.
So if they're not sweating. And
If they're not
it's
sweating.
like, don't give them water.
And if they're kind of like have the stumbles and mumbles is what we like to say in the wilderness first responder world. Kind of like maybe someone who looks like they're drunk but not drunk. That could be a really good sign of heat stroke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like the mumbles are like kind of just, they can't keep themselves up. Like their just eyes are kind of shutting and they're like, they are not making any sense.
So if you're out on the trail and you see someone experiencing this or you feel as though you're experiencing this.
911.
Okay.
That's your best friend.
Yeah.
911, so the Scottsdale Fire Department will bring you back to the trailhead free of cost. If they bring you back to the trailhead via big wheel, via UTV, via helicopter, free of cost. The only cost that begins is when you are transported to the hospital.
The good thing is now they have those e-bikes, so they can
my gosh,
access
yes.
people so much more quickly. It used to be an hour to an hour and a half to get people, and now it's like
10 minutes.
10 minutes max. And I mean, as soon as they got the bikes, they executed a rescue.
Yes, they did.
As soon as they got the bikes, they were able to rescue somebody. And just to clarify, only the firefighters can use those e-bikes in the preserve because they are trained for it. They know where to go. And that's a sensitive area. So we want to make sure that people don't think that they can go on their e-bikes. It's just the firefighters.
And anyone with a physical disability. And you have to go through a sticker program. And that's another topic for another day. But yes, I remember I ran into Captain Dave Folio, and he just said, we had some more firefighters out on the e-bikes, and we got to them in 10 minutes, and they have IVs with them. Like,
Yes.
they can deploy
Wow.
IVs
Gosh.
in the field, which is just amazing.
They have a complete kit that they can help somebody. But the goal is not to meet them that way.
that's true.
Go to a Wimby event where
Yeah.
you can see what's in my backyard at a fire station. Don't meet them this way.
No.
So what should people take with them on the trail? Besides, we talked about don't wear flip-flops, don't wear heels, don't, you want the proper gear, hat, sunglasses, anything else we haven't thought of.
Sunscreen.
Oh,
Yeah.
Make sure you wear your sunscreen.
Yeah, Arizona is like the second highest place for skin cancer after Australia. Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about water, snacks,
Electrolytes.
Salt, yeah, just that for your body. A first aid kit too. Not a bad idea. Whatever kind of first aid kit's best for you. It can just have like some Band-Aids in it, some ibuprofen for yourself, or just like little alcohol wipes, and you're good. And then there's other ones that are like super intense first aid kits. The biggest advice I've always gotten about first aid kits, if you don't know how to use everything that's in it, don't use it. Don't take it. Don't have that type of first aid kit. Because then it's just like dead weight.
You don't have time to read
Exactly.
during an emergency.
Yeah.
How to apply a tourniquet? Hold on, what? The blood is already spurting.
I think another thing to touch on that's not something we necessarily plan to talk about is with heat safety, a lot of people are going out into the preserve and they're bringing their pets, their dogs. And I think it's an important topic to talk about. We've talked about it here on Podsdale before, but do you guys have any insights on what you should do if you're bringing your pet out to the preserve, especially on a day where it's triple digits?
Ooh, yeah.
Well, like Gail mentioned, if the surface is hot, then it's probably not a day that you should be bringing your pets out. I like to think of if I put my hand or my foot on the surface and I can't leave it on the surface, then it's going to be too hot for my pet. But also, animals are just as susceptible, if not more, to heat than humans. They've got a fur coat, and that's basically like an insulator. So they are going to be more susceptible to heat-related illnesses.
Oh, yeah, and then how we sweat is very different to how they sweat.
Right.
They sweat through their paws. And so their paws have a very low surface area. So for them to cool down, it takes a lot longer. Also, people think, if I just put those little shoe booties, it doesn't help regulate their body temperature. And you're like, they'll be fine then. They can go in the 100-degree weather and we can go for a hike. No, it makes it worse for that dog. And we do have signs out in the preserve that says if it's over 90 degrees, don't hike with your animal.
Yeah.
Because then they're more likely to have heat exhaustion and to heat stroke way faster than a human being.
Look, we've domesticated these animals. They need to be in the house, guarding against, whatever.
The trash truck,
They
which mine does.
Like looking out the window, laying on the couch in the bed when they're not supposed to. They're not supposed to be out in the heat.
But I would say that signs of illness potentially with animals related to heat is similar to humans, minus the panting, but also preparedness for the heat is very similar to humans as well. But if there is a heat-related illness or you suspect a heat-related illness with a pet out in the preserve or Pinnacle Peak Park, call 911 because Scottsdale Fire is trained to treat animals who are experiencing a heat illness.
Fluffy and the firefighter. It's a kid's story waiting to happen.
Oh, that's cute. Do you want to kind of co-write that then?
Yeah,
Should we
let's
start
do that.
that?
Yeah.
We can strike
Next
this
Podsdale.
if it's not accurate, but can't Scottsdale Fire also assist with like rattlesnake bites in pets?
That specifically, I don't know, but I think anytime you have a human or an animal, a human or a dog gets bit by a rattlesnake, again, if you call Scottsdale Fire Department and then know you're the closest vet clinic that does have the anti-venom,
They'll transport you.
they will. Yes, they will help with that if necessary.
I also think it's important to highlight again what you said earlier about Scottsdale Fire coming into the preserve and picking people up who need that help, and that there is no charge, because I think a lot of people would refrain from calling 911 because they know that can be a big bill associated with it. Like, just it's a stigma that goes with everything. A lot of people won't hop in the ambulance because they know the hospital bill is going to be crazy. And I think it's important to highlight that there is no cost. So if you are in that situation and you are out in the preserve and you do need help will come and it won't cost you anything.
I was just telling Kelsey and a few staff members this morning that I remember, I think 2 years ago, there was one of our users, I don't know if they fell off their bike or was hiking and twisted their ankle, and they were crawling back to the trailhead because they didn't want to call 911. So, and a steward, one of our volunteers, came across them and be like, "Hey, you okay?" And they're like, yeah, I just hurt my ankle. And they're like, oh, you can call 911 and they'll take you back to the trailhead for free. And at that point, they were like, you could see the building. So, yeah, don't crawl back, people, because that's not fun for anyone. So please call 911 and they'll bring you back to the trailhead free of cost.
Okay, before we get to the fun parts of your job, how important is it to let people know where you're going?
It's very important. So if something happens, hopefully, knock on wood, nothing does happen, and let's say if someone's reporting you missing, then at least a family member, a friend knows where you're at, so search and rescue can begin to look for you. And it's just all in all safety, It's just good to have people know where you're at, especially if you live by yourself or if you venture in the outdoors a lot. It's good practice. I do it all the time when I'm out by myself. I text my dad, even though I don't live at home anymore, like, hey, Dad, I'm hiking Thompson today. Have a good day. Love you. And he's like, all right, thanks, Moo Cow. Appreciate that. So that is my nickname, is Moo Cow.
You know we're all going to be calling you Moo Cow.
I hope so. Please, Moo Cow, Maddie Moo, Moo Moo. So it's just important. Kind of just gives another layer of safety.
And when in doubt, hike with a friend, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the good gossip and tea that I've shared with friends and hiking with them. Oh, it's so good. It's a good time.
Mm-hmm. What happens by the cactus stays by the cactus.
Exactly.
Because it's stuck. But anyway.
Oh, no.
It's so ridiculous.
Okay, now we can get into kind of the lighter stuff. What are your guys' favorite parts about your jobs and working in the preserve?
My favorite part is being able to give somebody an experience with the Sonoran Desert. My in-laws were here not too long ago from New Hampshire, and they were out in the preserve, and they were just fascinated by the saguaros. And we see them every day, so we kind of take them for granted. But that is just a really cool part of my job, that I get to play a part in people experiencing our desert landscape, wildlife, and the plants in our community, really.
Do you have any memorable story about helping a visitor stay safe or have a positive experience besides your parents? Obviously, my dad, he's fascinated by saguaro forests and stuff like that. But any other great visitor stories that you can share?
There's so many to choose from. Well, I guess it doesn't really relate to heat at all. But I remember 2 years ago, I was putting up a trail sign near our Jane Rao interpretive trail. And there was this couple and their young son who were walking by me, and they're asking questions. And I was also asking questions like, how was your hike? What, did you enjoy it? And they're like, yeah, we saw this really big lizard, and it was black and orange. I'm like, wait, what? Where is it? And they're like, oh, it's a half mile back that way. I'm like, do you guys want to come with? And we can just check out this, because it's a Gila monster, and they're so fun to see. And they're like, nah, we're good. We're kind of scared of it. I'm like, respect, that's fair. So I just I powered hiking. I was like, and right around that corner, there was just a beautiful Gila monster. So I have so many stories, but for some reason that one's sticking out to me the most today. Because Gila monsters are just so very fascinating.
I just saw my first one out in the wild doing a hike.
Ooh, where were you hiking?
I've been here 30 years.
The Gila monster was doing a hike?
No, it was.
For 30 years.
Was slower than me, which was remarkable, which is nice to see and encouraging. But the Gila monster I was at Spur Cross doing it was a 10-mile hike, so it was in the middle of nowhere. And it was just taking its time, and it blends in so well with the rocks because the rocks were kind of reddish, and it was reddish and brown. And if I had been on my phone, I would have stepped on that sucker. So, there
Always
you go.
Good to be aware where you're walking.
That's why put your phone down and just start looking around, because I would have missed it.
And did you let someone know you were out hiking?
I was with my +1.
Oh, okay, so you're good.
He knew. He's a Boy Scout.
He
took care of you.
He has the medical kit and a little thing, the transponder, so the helicopter comes gets him. He goes, "Don't use it unless I've lost an arm," because
he's prepared,
it's really
though.
expensive. I'm like, I know what to do.
Just glue the arm back on. You're you're good.
Super glue, Gorilla Glue.
Don't think that's in your first aid kit.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Well, before we head out, do you guys have any parting words you'd like to share with our listeners here today?
I guess what I've always been told, your body is so different every day and every body is different. So listen to yourself before you go out for a hike. And if you do start hiking, you kind of feel off, I always say just go home and treat yourself to a nice like nap or snack, because if you keep, that's what I do, nap or a snack or a smoothie. I'm like, yes, please.
Soothes a lot of woes.
Because if you just keep pushing yourself, it's not going to end well. So that's just, again, everybody is different and you wake up different every morning.
And it's better to be over-prepared than under-prepared as we enter the very, very hot months. Just be smart, because I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but the results of somebody having a heat-related illness can be devastating. Mm-hmm. So just make sure that you are prepared. And if you are contemplating, not going out to mountain bike, to hike, because of the weather, maybe put that off for a cooler day.
There's so many fun things to do in Scottsdale indoors. If you're worried about heat safety and hiking, especially in these hot temperatures, go explore something else in Scottsdale for the day and come back when it's a little cooler.
Yeah, like our cool libraries.
The McCormick Railroad Park.
Yeah.
That big room with all
The
those model
roundhouse.
trains.
Yes.
That is,
oh my gosh,
that's a
yes.
great place to go when it's 110 degrees outside.
Yes, it is. It's air conditioned. Heck yeah.
Yes.
They got snacks there. Sign me up.
We have some great aquatic centers too.
Yes. Go to
Yeah.
the pool.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it.
Well, Kelsey, Madison, thank you so much for being on with us today. We really appreciated having you here.
Thanks for having us. It was fun.
Thank you. Be smart out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's all for this episode of Podsdale. If you enjoyed listening, be sure to subscribe. You can find us on YouTube or in your favorite podcast app. Share episode ideas and provide your feedback by emailing communications@scottsdaleaz.gov. Thanks for listening.